Hi YouTube, it's Akilah Obviously, and we are at the Javits Center in midtown Manhattan. It's where Hillary Clinton is having her speech party, whatever. There's a block party outside. We're here with press, although it was very difficult to get these. It's its own story, but we will show you what we can of the evening. I'm just personally really excited because to be a woman in the year 2016 after having a black president for 8 years, and now we have Hillary who could potentially be our next president, and here's hoping. It started out as a very exciting evening and full of hope that we would be in a historic moment under a glass ceiling, getting to be in the room where it's happening with Hillary. And honestly, it started like this high and then just crept down until forever. There are plenty of people whose best interest is to keep everybody divided and to keep them hating people who don't look like them and to give them a scapegoat. You have to question people about the things that they say. You have to correct people when they're sharing false information on Facebook. You have to stand up to your family members who are being racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic. We can't live in a society where there are two Americas and there's one where there are people who are educated who are afraid to talk to their bigoted relatives, because Black women got information. We voted for Hillary. So the onus is on everybody now to actually step up. I don't want to hear, I'm scared to talk to my family because they're my family. No, I get that. But you can't wait till people are burning or hanging from trees or being killed to say something. And so, 2016 is the doo-dooest year in the history of my entire life. I think what's helpful for me is I live in New York. I'm surrounded by like-minded people. People here are disgusted, and we're not going to take it.
I'm going to do a little bit of what I think Sargon was trying to get at with the juxtaposition of the video clips in his original video that he titled SJW Levels of Awareness, because it seems to me that there's a number of things that are pretty obviously conflicting in their concepts, especially since the person says all of this in a very short amount of time in her video clips that were all compiled into one video. She had to have seen this video and the audio when she was editing it together and heard herself. She said it the first time, then she put the video together, and apparently still didn't catch how odd some of this probably sounds to people. So she was really excited because a woman in the year 2016 had a chance to become the president, which would be Hillary, after the first black president, which is Barack Obama, was in office for 8 years. So, and then directly after in clip 2, she says stuff about a historic moment under a glass ceiling, and that was supposed to basically refer to the whole glass ceiling concept, where people have a hard time getting through this thing that that everybody says isn't there, but is a ceiling to certain people. But and a lot of people believe that thing to be real. But the juxtaposition between these two things is that there's already been proof that there is no real ceiling, considering we just had a black president, not for one term, but 2 terms in a row, and directly afterwards had Hillary, a woman, being a front-runner candidate for being the president run after. So, not really a glass ceiling there. And she felt really bad because things didn't go her way. And then, so directly after that, in clip 3, she says, there are plenty of people whose best interest is to keep everybody divided and to keep them hating people who don't look like them and to give them a scapegoat. So this rolls right together in that she was all hopeful, and then she was sort of bummed out, and then she said something about scapegoating and people that don't look like her. I mean, in terms of color or gender, And then right afterwards says stuff about you have to question people about the things they say, you have to correct them about false information on Facebook, and bothering your family members about being racist, sexist, homophobic, etc. Referring to it was their fault that Hillary didn't get voted in, and a bunch of white people apparently was also a problem for the candidate, because everybody keeps saying a bunch of white guys were keeping Hillary from being president. So basically she goes in from the whole divided concept, the scapegoat concept, and then immediately goes into scapegoating and talking about people being racist, homophobic, etc., inferring that it was their problem. And she's just lumping everybody into these groups because that's the scapegoat part. So she just keeps rolling with all these contradictions. And then the whole false information thing is really interesting, because she says, but you can't wait till people are burning or hanging from trees or being killed to say something. That's not a thing that's going to be happening, and to fearmonger like that, and to be sharing false information like that, and to be labeling people a bunch of names like racist, sexist, homophobic, xenophobic, just because you didn't get your way, that rolls all together. And then at the beginning she was all excited and all this other stuff, and then she says, so 2016 is the doo-dooest year in the history of my entire life, which is a very strange thing, that an election didn't go your way, which she was talking about a woman being the first president, and that didn't happen, so that makes her entire life terrible. And then she rolls right into, I think what's helpful for me is I live in New York. I'm surrounded by like-minded people. People here are disgusted. We're not going to take it. Which it basically is like, oh, well, I live in New York, this big area with a bunch of stuff going on in her life. And, so an election fails is the worst year in her life. And then she's the whole surrounded by like-minded people thing. People are disgusted. We're not going to take it. That all rolls into like an echo chamber concept, and people here are disgusted. Basically, like, why doesn't everybody think like us? The whole keep everybody divided concept earlier in clip 3. All of these pieces just roll together into one contradictory mess. And I thought that was all fairly obvious, the juxtaposition between all of these concepts, especially in that order. You get the first juxtaposition just clip to clip, but then if you go back and you look at all the clips mixed together, it's very confusing to understand how a person can think all of these things at once. And that's what I think was the reason why Sargon's video was titled SJW Levels of Awareness, because it doesn't seem she has any awareness to what she was saying or the problems with what she was saying, and all of it being wrapped in this one video.